company, Clear Channel Communications Incorporated.
Welcome to the Caregiver Hour on 1250 WINS WHNZ, offering support for those who care for a loved one. A show that cares about you and supports and encourages you, the caregiver. Here's your host, Kim Linder.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Caregiver Hour radio show. We are now been on air for 3.5 years, and what a big accomplishment that has been, not just for me, but for all the caregivers and our listeners and all the sponsors and even the production team here at Clear Channel. I'm very grateful for all of you. And, you know, when you hear of some tragedies that are happening in our world, all around our world, in the Philippines, in Illinois, and, you know, maybe it's in your backyard where you're hearing this show today. And if you are a caregiver or know someone, we are sending out a lot of healing and love and light so that families can get back on track and get their lives back together. And hopefully, if someone's been injured, we hope that they are healing well. But we really send out all of that. That's really part of what we do here at the Caregiver Hour. We want to support you in any way that you need the support. And so just keep that in mind. Your thoughts and our prayers are with you always. And, you know, speaking of caregiving, this show is really about bringing the resources live for you, alive and live. And I'm so thrilled to have our guests on today. These are two women that I've known for many, many years in the profession of caring for others, constantly and consistently and so professionally. This is their passion, and we're bringing it live to you today on our live web stream. So we're so thrilled to be here. We're going to be talking about the future of caregiving. That's such an interesting question and topic to be talking about because it could cover so many areas, but we're going to really highlight what a professional caregiver like a geriatric care manager, in their eyes, what do they see the future of caregiving? Because they are the pulse. They are working so constantly with the family and with their family member and really helping them navigate the medical system, being advocates for them, having answers for them, getting the information and being so supportive all the time. But you know, that's why I wanted them on the show today, come from their perspective. What is the future of caregiving? So our two guests are Joanna Davis, who has a BA and CMC, owner at Chart Your Own Course, limited company with Care Resources, and Kelli Edwards, who has an MA and CMC, advanced practice geriatric care manager at Chart Your Own Course with Care Resources. So these ladies are in North Pinellas County here in the Tampa Bay area. Did you consider that Tarpon Springs? I've been to your office. It's lovely. And, you know, I think that we really want to welcome you to the show because it's great to have both of you here. And Kelli, why don't we start with you with really understanding, because I know you're on this committee in Dunedin, and maybe you could talk a little about the committee and who you are and what you do as part of the committee.
Okay, if you're the Committee on Aging in Dunedin, I've been a part of for, about 12 years now, and it's very proactive in looking into needs of the elder community, and really we're all related. We all have caregivers, whether it's professional or family or neighbor or friend, and we're all interrelated. So we just try to look towards the future and figure out what's caregiving going to look like.
Well, the reason why I wanted you on is because there could be other people who are geriatric care managers out there who don't know, or someone who doesn't know what a geriatric care manager is. So maybe we should talk about that as well as we talk about the future. And then also there may be someone who's at school now who's thinking, where do I want to go in my profession? And yeah, this show really does influence people. It really gets people to think. So let's go back before we talk about the future. And I do want to talk about that committee because it's so awesome. But maybe you can also just help me round out what is geriatric care management in case someone doesn't know.
Okay. Well, care management is a profession hopefully more people are knowing about. It's been around since 1988 when it was first founded in Florida. We have this highest population of geriatric care managers in this area, but we are professional advocates for our clients, and we start by doing an assessment of all their needs, and then we make recommendations Usually people call, unfortunately, when they're in a crisis situation.
Right. Like what situation would that be?
I'm in the hospital.
Yes.
I don't know where to go next. Or I'm in a nursing home and they told me I'm on my last day. Or mom's fallen for the 10th time and she doesn't call me like she used to at home. So we meet people wherever they are in their path in life, whether it's home, nursing home, transition. And we try to come up with the best plan of care for them to move forward. You know, we advocate for the older person or the disabled person.
Right.
Even though it's someone else involved in their life, usually the caregiver or family who calls us, we advocate for that older person.
That's really excellent because the caregivers do need all that support and also guidance. And I'm thinking also you're there to show them or explain options because people think that there are no options. It's whatever that person at the hospital told me or whatever that person at the rehab center told me that mom has 2 more days and then she's out. Out where? I don't know. I need to call a geriatric care manager. So that's kind of where I hear you going.
Right. And a lot of our adult children are it's not from lack of education or lack of caring. It's just we have a very niche market we're dealing with in healthcare. And even we deal in silos of care as well, where each caregiver does their one part only. As a care manager, we help connect everybody together, and that's what's missing. We really work hard at doing that. Just an example, my own mother has had lab work forever, went this week to get it, and she was told Medicare doesn't cover that anymore. I'm like, Mom, that just doesn't make sense. There was something missing in between, and if you get that feeling that something's not making sense here, or I don't want to come back to a lab a whole nother day and be stuck, just stop right there and talk about what your options are. And that's what we do with our clients.
So you want them to call you if they have a question. So why don't we give them your phone number right now? And we have your information, your website information right now. In case someone wants to call the office, they can do that right now, or they can call us right here live and ask you the question, because there could be someone sitting at home that's listening to the show and says, that did come up recently. Our toll-free number here is 1-877-897-8255, and we welcome your call. So if you are someone who's sitting with a question or something that just doesn't fit right, or you need some advocacy, call us right now, again, at toll-free at 1-877-897-8255. And the beauty of it also is we have a link on the caregiverhour.com's website, so if someone wants to connect with you that way, they can do that as well.
Nice.
So it's all different kinds of that holistic approach. Okay, so Kelli, let's go. We've got the idea of what the geriatric care manager does. Why don't we just go into the education piece, just so that if there's someone who's at school trying to make a decision or returning to school, they've now said, this is what I want, or I didn't even know this existed, but this sounds interesting.
Well, one of the nice things about care management, we're very eclectic. We come from different backgrounds, whether it's social work, nursing, even OT, physical therapy. But the thing is, once you become a geriatric care manager, we have a set of standards and ethics that we follow as a care manager. Now, USF has a great gerontology program, too, where many people get their education. Mine was in psych and sociology before I found out about care management. So if you have a heart and a passion for older folks, for advocating, it's a great field to be in. And at that Committee on Aging event, the students that were compiling that information were from USF.
Okay, so why don't we talk just what, I realize now that not everyone is watching the show. Some people are listening. Do you have the office number memorized?
Oh, sure.
Okay, if you can give that in case someone would like to call you.
It's 727-842-3344, and we are on call 24 hours a day. We are available all the time for our clients.
Okay, the number just one more time.
727-842-3344.
Okay, that's great. We have one more minute and then we go to the break. So I really want to come back to that meeting, that council meeting. Tell us a little more about that.
Well, it generated from, we're a city-appointed committee. We're the voice for
So this
aging
is Dunedin,
issues in Dunedin,
another town in the Clearwater area. In case someone's listening from far away, they may have a town and they think, I want to do this in my town.
Right. And all towns do our city planning for the future. And that's what it was about. And we knew that they're doing a long-range plan. We said, we want to be at the table to know what that future is going to look like, that they know what the aging issues are, what kind of town is welcoming, what do people need in that town, transportation, housing, finances, social support, churches, just how are we going to make it in the future? It was a great meeting.
It really was. I was so honored to be there.
Meeting.
That was terrific. So we're going to talk a little more about that, but then really jump into the future of caregiving. And we're going to have Joanna Davis, who's the owner at Chart Your Own Course Limited Company with Care Resources, really talk about what's happening for the caregiver and also for their loved one. I'm Kim Linder. We want you to stay tuned with us. And you're listening to the Caregiver Hour on 1250 Wins WHNZ.
Caregiving has gotten harder and more complicated, even as families have more and more demands on their time. That's why AARP is here to help caregivers with the tools, information, and support they need to care for their loved ones and themselves. Check out aarp.org/caregiving to connect with other caregivers like yourself and find the resources you need. Visit the AARP Caregiver Resource Center at aarp.org/caregiving.
Injured in a car accident or suffering from back and joint pain for a while? Clearly, you need to see a doctor. Call Dr. Ben, a chiropractor with 25 years experience. He listens, he cares, he gets results. His common sense approach? Coaching patients to be self-sufficient and less doctor-dependent. Let's face it, there are many things you can do to improve your health. Call Dr. Ben at 727-488-8044. Mention the Caregiver Hour radio show for a free examination. 727-488-8044. Dr. Ben, your coach to better health. 727-488-8044.
Sometimes I know what I want to say, but just can't find the words.
Last week I shouted at my grandson, and I'm not sure why.
I saw my daughter, but couldn't remember her name.
The sooner you recognize the warning signs of Alzheimer's disease, the sooner you can do something about it. To learn more, go to alz.org/10signs. That's alz.org/10signs. A message from the Alzheimer's Association.
Caregiving can be an overwhelming and stressful experience. Aston Gardens, Tampa Bay's premier senior living community, is excited to be able to support those who care for others. Please join them the third Thursdays of the month at 5:30 p.m. to learn creative problem-solving techniques and caregiving ideas from others who have been in your shoes. Aston Gardens specializes in independent living, assisted living, and memory care. Chosen for the third year in a row by the U.S. Commerce Association for the Best of Tampa Bay Award in residential care. Call 813-855-2811 or visit astongardens.com for more info.
Your home is where you feel relaxed, safe, and secure. Arcadia Home Care understands that you want to maintain that freedom and independence, even though you may be recuperating from an injury, illness, or simply require a little support with daily activities of living. You create a plan for your life as you envision it, and you can rest assured Arcadia will provide companionship, personal care, housekeeping, shopping, and errands, or whatever you need. They deliver their services with compassion, dependability, and professionalism. Their caregivers are screened, bonded, and insured, and must meet rigorous hiring standards, so you are confident you're receiving the best care possible for you or your loved one. Visit ArcadiaHomeCare.com or call St. Petersburg at 727-579-9414 or Tampa at 813-651-1300 to schedule your free in-home assessment and learn how Arcadia can enhance your quality of life while helping you stay at home and healthier longer. Arcadia Home Care, providing quality services since 1978.
It's the Caregiver Hour on 1250 Wins WHNZ with encouragement, guidance, and support for caregivers. Here's your host, Kim Linder.
Hello, and welcome back to the Caregiver Hour radio show. I am so thrilled to be here with Joanna Davis and Kelli Edwards, both from Chart Your Own Course, really here in the Tarpon Springs, Florida area, but you really serve, I would think, all of Tampa Bay and beyond.
We do. We have services in Citrus County, Hernando, Pasco, and Pinellas.
That's wonderful. So, Joanna, it's great to have you here. You and I go way back. We'd have these conversations when you would visit us at the Freedom Inn at Countryside,
right.
And because you'd have a client or I had referred someone to you, and there we were outside talking about what was going to be our future in the role of healthcare, and here we are.
Little did we know.
Yes.
And I have to say, Kim, it really is wonderful. You're really in your element right now. So
I feel that way. Thank you so much. It's just so wonderful to bring everyone on board with me so we could have this journey together. So let's come back to the question about geriatric care managers, because that's really your passion. And I know you wanted to say something, so why don't we give you the mic to do that? What would you like to our listeners to hear?
I guess give a little bit more information to the consumer regarding geriatric care management, because really when you're looking for a care manager, you're going to want to look for a person who is credentialed.
Okay.
They really should have an educational background in human services, like Kelli said, nursing, or social work or gerontology, which is my background.
Right.
And that person really needs to be certified in care management. And there are different credentials that the National Association of Professional Geriatric Care Managers recognizes. And our certification that Kelli and I both have is a care manager certified. And what that means is a person has that educational platform. They have that at least a bachelor's degree or a master's or even a PhD. And then they build upon that. By working and being supervised by another professional for a minimum of 3 to 4 years before they sit for an examination.
Okay.
And once they sit for that examination and they pass, then they are required to have 45 hours of continuing care credentialing education in order to become recertified every 3 years.
Okay. So it's a serious profession.
It's very serious.
Okay. Well, good.
Well,
We'd like
we're
to
dealing
hear
with
that.
people's lives.
That's right.
And their well-being.
Yes. And, it's not like a pen or a shoe. This is people's lives, like you said.
That's right.
And you have a professional organization you've been president of. Why don't we talk a little about that in case someone would
I'm
like to know?
president of the Florida chapter of the National Association, and this is my last year.
Okay.
I hand over the gavel to another very qualified individual in January.
Oh, good.
So it's been a wonderful ride for the past 2 years, and I think that we've made a lot of headway just for care managers here in the state of Florida.
That's terrific. If you have any questions for Kelli or Joanna or myself, just call us toll free now at 1-877-897-8255, or you can do an instant message here. Gail, my wonderful administrative assistant, is here, and we can look at your questions if you feel like doing it that way. Where I want to go with this is really understanding what the future is. Like, how do we help families in your profession, with your profession? How do we help them down the road of the future for caregiving?
Right. I think there's going to be a lot of technology that people are going to be relying on in the future. And I think the platforms are there right now, with the internet coming into the homes. I know that a lot of the telephone companies and the security companies have introduced programs that will monitor the elder or the child even in the home to ensure that their health is stable. For example, you're going to be able to use your smartphone to record blood pressure, blood sugars, even mobility throughout the home. You're going to be able to tell if that person's getting up, getting down, or has had a fall.
Right.
And I just want to caution people that even though that technology is here or just around the corner, that's not the end all of caregiving. Right. It's going to allow the families that are out of state to have more information quicker, but you still need that human touch. You need to have that friendly face come in the door and say, Mrs. Smith, how are you doing today? That interaction, that one-on-one, we must not lose that.
So why don't we talk about, for people who don't know exactly how or when you come into the picture, why don't we bring them that visual so they understand, oh, okay, so that's where you come in. How do you get the call?
Well, usually family members, as Kelli had said earlier, are in the midst of a crisis when something's happening to their parent or their elder.
So we talked about the hospital,
right?
Being discharged from the hospital or being discharged from a nursing home after rehab.
But honestly, we would really like to come a lot sooner than that. Because usually when you're in the crisis mode, it's very difficult for that professional, that care manager, to slow things down. But if we're there at the beginning when things are status quo, chances are we're not going to have that crisis.
So it's smart for family members to do their research now and have this be part of their caregiving plan.
Trust me, life is happening as we speak.
Right.
and we're all getting older.
Yes.
Things are going to happen. Let's not have that crisis. Let's have that professional come in and do an assessment, give you a care plan to follow, and show you what your options are before the crisis hits. And then because your options become less and less, the more acute the incident is. And it can be very catastrophic at times.
Yes, it can be. And so so assessment is done, and the geriatric care manager says, Mom is doing pretty well right now. So I'm thinking that things are good, but then we'll check back in 6 months or 3 months.
We like to see our clients at least every other week at a minimum.
But this is in the very beginning, when maybe there's in the very beginning even every other week.
To ensure that they're taking their medications as prescribed, that they're eating a nutritional meal, that they are getting to their physicians as directed, and that everyone is talking.
Okay. So speaking of talking, what is the best way for caregivers to communicate with geriatric care managers? What do you see the trend being? Has that changed as well?
It has changed over the years. We're using a lot more electronic communication now with emails, but we have to be very careful with that because there are some security risks with that. But a lot of the families still like to have that telephone call weekly saying, how's mom or dad doing? And but we do communicate by written communication with an email quite often.
Kelli and I were also talking during the break about Skype. Are family members Skyping now as well, or do you Skype with other professionals to help?
We do,
this family member?
And we Skype with a lot of family members that are out of the country as well. And that's something that the children can help with their loved ones. To become accustomed with using a smartphone or Skyping. And even so, we have tech people that we work with that have done training with our clients before in the past to ensure that they can use those iPads or the tablets and set up the computer system, so it becomes a little bit easier.
So you feel that family members are really understanding what a geriatric care manager does. Is this becoming also from the doctors? Do doctor offices also now recommend this? Is this what? Oh, Kelly's shaking the head no. So we're going to have to come back. We're going to come back to that question because you told me that there is now a trend where doctors are asking more questions, and the patient or family member is walking out with a little more information. So we kind of want to help our listeners understand that a little better. So we're going to come back to that as soon as we come back from our break. We have a break. We have another minute. So as we close this one segment, what would you like our listeners to know about geriatric care managers?
That we are professionals. We're very caring, and we want to make sure that our clients have a very good quality of life, even as they're approaching end of life.
That's a wonderful message. So, again, if you have any questions, we want you to call us toll free right now at 1-877-897-8255, or you can do an instant message on our live web stream and we can answer any of your questions. I am letting you know you want to come back because we have more great information and we have a special guest at the end of the show. I'm Kim Linder. You're listening to the Caregiver Hour on 1250 WINS WHNZ.
Hey, Brandon Rhymes, the real estate quarterback here. I am so proud of all of you who continue to reach out and get advice on your real estate. Look, the housing market has been on a run. Now, maybe you've gained some equity, or maybe you're underwater and you're back to having equity.
is currently up 49 points. NASDAQ is
The Caregiver Hour on 1250 Wins WHNZ. It's about taking care of yourself while you take care of others. Here's your host, Kim Linder.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back. We're thrilled you're here with us on the Caregiver Hour radio show. What a great conversation we're having, and I'm learning things about geriatric care management that I didn't know, or, maybe I forgot along the way. So that's why it's so good to have you on here today. And we have two great guests, Joanna Davis, who is the owner of Chart Your Own Course, and Kelli Edwards, who is advanced practice geriatric care manager with Chart Your Own Course as well. And they're here from Tarpon Springs, Florida. And you may be someone who's listening in Chicago, in Nevada, in Washington State. And if you have family here, you want to connect with this team. This is Chart Your Own Course is like on the A list. And I've talked about, if I have someone on my show or on my website, that is who you want to call. They are the people who I have known for many years, or I have done my own testing and assessing, and know from their reputation that they do excellent work. And for caregivers who are out of town, it is so stressful. It's that extra layer of stress besides caring for mom, making sure dad is okay, maybe a sibling. Maybe there's a disabled sibling that they have in their life, and they just need to make sure that they have all the care and advocacy that's available for them. And the options, instead of saying, I don't know, the answer is, I do know who to call, though. I might not know, but I know who to call. And that's why we want you to call Joanna Davis or Kelli at Chart Your Own Course. They have a great website that is available for you to view. We also want to let you know there is a link on the caregiverhour.com website that you can connect with them right away and be able to make a phone call or an email and just get more information about who they are. But if you have a question right now and you would like to ask us, you can call us toll free at 1-877-897-8255. You can always email me, Kim@thecaregiverhour.com, and I will connect you to whoever you need that connection for. We have also a helpline where caregivers can actually call toll free. Our helpline is 1-877-552-4950. Again, it's toll free, 1-877-552-4950. And Chart Your Own Course is on there as well under geriatric care management. So I'm a big believer. And I know, Joanna, you are a big believer. But let's have our listeners and our viewers now really get an idea of why they should be calling and when they should be calling. Because I thought that was really interesting how you said, let's do it sooner rather than later so that we have a relationship with mom, that hands-on connection.
That's right. It's important that our clients trust us.
Yes.
You really can't develop that trust when you've got someone who's in the hospital in pain, or if someone has, late stage dementia, it's very difficult at that time. Then you're just managing problems at that time. So I know that we've had a lot of our clients that we've had since back in the early 90s.
Mm-hmm.
And
people are aging well, so that's believable.
Yes.
Yes.
And they look at us not as a daughter, but as and not necessarily a friend, but someone that they can trust.
Okay. That's so important.
And especially the children. And if we have multiple siblings that are trying to manage someone's care out of town, that becomes extremely stressful for the elder. And we like our families, our adult children, to have that a child-parent relationship. And sometimes when they come into town and they say, Mom, we don't think that you should be living at home anymore, and we want to move you to assisted living. Sometimes, Kim, that really doesn't go over very well.
Yeah.
However, if the care manager comes in and sits down and we have that rapport with our client, we say, we see you're struggling. We've put things in place for you to help maintain you at home. But now we need to take that next step where we may need to go into an assisted living or an adult living community. And they tend to respond to us a little bit more because they see us as that professional voice.
Okay. in that part of their life. Now that you just said that kind of just put the light bulb on for me. You're right. They have you in that area where that's where you are, that support for me. And I love how you also said you want the daughter or the son or even the spouse to still be that loving relationship where maybe you coming in and talking about that situation where they need to make the change is easier for them.
And we're giving them options. We're not telling them where their life needs to go.
Right.
We're saying, this is the scenario and this is what we see needs to be done. Let's do this together because we are partners.
Mm-hmm.
And we're partners with the adult children, but primarily we're partners with that elder.
And you have all the resources locally to help support that loved one in their home or in a facility. So that's also really good because we even talk about companies who have employees and they may have these wonderful plans that come in, the employee plans, what is it called? The employee assistance plans. But those are national. When you're here locally, you don't know what you want to know what's the best locally to be referring your employees to who are often caregivers.
That's right, Kim. And as we've mentioned before, there's a lot of telephonic elder care out there, and it serves its place.
Yes.
However, again, you don't have that one-on-one human touch.
Yep, I totally get it. So, Kelli, do you have some things you would like to also share with our listeners and viewers about geriatric care management or even the future of caregiving?
Sure. What came to mind when Joanna was talking was I think there's a lot of good information out there.
Yes.
I think even when you're in a doctor's appointment, they say A, B, C, D, 1, 2, 3. And when you need a person with you to translate that and to track. So what we spend a lot of time doing as a care manager is educating. And the process of going from hospital or from home to assisted living, the ideas there, everybody might know it's a good idea and know that that's what's needed, but we help them with the process. We're there for the whole process. We help them realize it's not such a scary thing.
Okay.
By education, by telling them stories about other people we've known that have been through the same thing and going along with them.
Okay.
So it's not as bad. Same for the family.
Right. I would think so, too. So let's go to the doctor's office for a moment because that's a pivotal place where a doctor can absolutely see changes in Mrs. Jones and what's happening in that appointment, Kelli, where you could actually be referred by the doctor to a family member.
Well, hopefully we have a real strong unit here in Tampa Bay. We have our Tampa Bay unit, and hopefully as care managers collectively, people are understanding. They say, oh, I know what a care manager is. I know so-and-so from your company or another care management company, and we're consistent. We show our credentials. We give them our HIPAA release form so they know they can communicate with us, and we give them all that for their records so they know that we're legitimate, to build legitimacy, that we have a professional association. And then I see that the doctors are asking more pointed questions, and they're having electronic records now, which we've had for quite a long time. I think they're impressed when we bring our laptop or our smartphone and we can give them their weight was this last visit. This is, and plus it's not one doctor anymore.
Right.
Most of my clients on average are in 85 years old, and they have 2 to 3, some have 6 doctors.
Yes.
So we tell them what happened at all the doctor appointments in between as well. And believe me, I could not remember just with my brain, but with my computer program that we use, we can help them with the information that they need. And they're like, wow, that is so helpful to have that right there. And I'm hoping that doctors' offices and clinicians and ARNPs will also start doing the same. I've seen some mobile physician services out there that are using enhanced medical records. I've seen it in doctors' offices now, e-clinician, and things that are really an effective tool that we need to use.
I think that's great. And so you had also said that the doctor's office is also, when the doctor meets with their patient, that they're having a little more of a conversation.
They are.
So tell us a little more about that.
I think there's pop-up items for them that they're required to ask a little more of. They're looking at their mental status. They do the questions, what year is it, before they go on with decision-making questions. They're going over the basic health standard tests, like have you had your mammogram, your screening, you're this, you're that. And then also asking from records from other doctors and getting signed releases. And when you leave the doctor's appointments...
Well, let's go back to that, the signed releases, so that the information can be shared with the other doctors.
Right.
Okay.
That the patient signs, so they need their records from all the other doctors. They
Absolutely.
should, if you're going to a doctor out there, you should make sure that all your physicians are sharing information. You can even bring it yourself to the appointment.
Okay.
Keep a notebook for yourself. Keep things together so you can share that yourself if you're not with a geriatric care manager. And then ask for takeaway material when you leave your doctor. I'm finding a lot of times now they're giving you a printout. They're telling you what they talked about, what your meds are, what your blood pressure was. But keep that piece of paper and be more involved. Be an advocate for yourself. And like we try to do with our clients, we can't be there with them 24 hours a day, but we spend time trying to help them and their loved ones and their caregivers make the most of the information that really is already there.
So even just that piece is so crucial, what you talked about, and I really would love for them to give you a call just to get more information. So what number would they call to just have a consult with you?
727-842-3344. That's 727-842-3344.
So I think this has really been a great conversation, and we're going to have you come back. We're going to go for our break, and I am looking forward to having our special guest who is going to be on right after the break. And then we're going to really come back about helping the caregiver. Like, just think of some tips we can help with the caregiver today as we close this wonderful show. I'm Kim Linder. You're listening to the Caregiver Hour on 1250 WINS WHNZ.
If you or a loved one experience bladder control problems, here's important news.
For more than 5 years now, the nice ladies at the Caregiver Partnership have taken the time to understand my needs, suggest the best choices of bladder control products for me, and always get the right product delivered to my door fast and with free shipping.
To get started, simply call 800-985-1353 for your free catalog and $60 in coupons. Many people just like you trust the Caregiver Partnership for convenient home delivery of bladder control products, and they have more than 500 to choose from. Call now. The call is free, shipping is free, and your satisfaction is guaranteed.
The Caregiver Partnership treats me like family and really knows their stuff, and they keep my business private.
Call 1-800-985-1353 now to receive your free catalog with $60 in coupons. That's 1-800-985-1353. Call now. The voice in the preceding advertisement is not the voice of an actual customer.
We all know that life can change quickly, and when an elderly loved one suddenly needs in-home care, there's one trusted name you can count on at a moment's notice: Senior Helpers. Senior Helpers is a national leader in professional in-home senior care. They specialize in companionship, personal care, and even dementia care using their unique Senior GEMS approach. Find out how they can help you today. Call them at 727-210-1414. Senior Helpers, comfort and care at a moment's notice.
Enjoy life at the Barrington, Largo's premier senior community. The Barrington, the resort lifestyle you deserve at a price you can afford. Life at the Barrington is truly senior living at ease, complete with chef-prepared meals, an activities director, and transportation to your favorite spots. Independent and assisted living homes are available now by calling the Barrington at 727-217-5681. Call the Barrington at 727-217-5681 to schedule your tour of their pet-friendly senior community today.
Hi, it's Kim Linder from the Caregiver Hour. I want to tell you about an attorney in Clearwater that I have known for over 7 years. His name is Bill Rambam, and I have referred many families to him for his legal expertise. Bill is one of less than 100 attorneys to be evaluated by the Florida Bar and become certified as a specialist in elder law. His 30 years of experience and impeccable credentials make him one of the most highly regarded legal experts in our area. Give Bill a call today at 727-781-5357 or visit rambamlaw.com. Non-attorney spokesperson.
Family caregivers, it's new and just for you. The Caregivers Resource Helpline, a free service brought to you by the Caregiver Hour radio show. If you've got questions about anything related to caregiving, you can call the helpline 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Speak directly to dozens of caregiving experts on topics like what to do about caregiver burnout, how to best protect your family's assets, when to keep your loved one at home, or get assistance with a managed care facility, and much, much more. You can even speak to a caregiver coach. Call the Caregiver Resource Helpline today at 1-877-552-4950 to help you take the stress out of caregiving.
It's the Caregiver Hour on 1250 Wins WHNZ with encouragement, guidance, and support for caregivers. Here's your host, Kim Linder.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back. This is segment I call Circling Back to the Caregiver because it really is all about you. And we have a special guest today, Lisa Lawrence from Assisted Transitions. And Lisa, welcome to the Caregiver Hour show.
Hi, Kim. Thank you.
You're
Thank
very
you for having
welcome.
me.
It's our pleasure. Why don't you introduce yourself to our community and also about the work that you do for our caregivers?
Okay, awesome. First, I just want to say thank you. The support and education you provide to the caregiver community is really invaluable, and I love working with you and your team.
Well, thank you.
And I also want to concur with you about the importance of the geriatric care managers. They really do a great job in pulling all the pieces together for people who are very confused, and we refer to them often. So I just want to concur on that.
Well, that's great, and I'll make sure we make this introduction for you. We'll have lunch or something so that all of you can meet each other.
All right. And I'll tell you a little bit about assisted transition. We understand the challenges that seniors and their loved ones face. It really takes a lot of patience and strength and love, and it's very difficult when they have to take that next step to ensure their loved one is safe and secure and they're not compromised. So what we focus on is helping seniors and their loved ones find assisted living, memory care, independent living, or whatever that long-term care setting is that's right for them. And we try to take the burden from the caregiver by helping them navigate through the maze because there's a lot of options and it can be overwhelming. It's a stressful time already and a difficult decision, and then there's so many options out there. There are hundreds of licensed assisted living facilities in the area. Some have 5 residents, some have 205, and they're very different. So how does somebody know the difference? How do they know how much it costs, what services they offer, and what kind of care they can provide, and what's the social environment like, which is also important. We've done that research, and we can offer options that meet the client's specific needs and wants, and we provide that service completely free of charge. So we really develop a personal relationship with our clients, and we are a family-owned and operated business in Pinellas County. My daughter, Sarah, and my mother, Darla, who is here with me now, who is a senior citizen herself, works with me. And, we're all different in terms of our age and our perspective, but we really share the same goal. We want to help seniors and their loved ones live the best life they can live. And we love to see those happy endings where we find a perfect spot for them and we can see their relationships flourishing. So if there is a senior or a loved one who's considering assisted living, memory care, or even a short-term respite stay to give that caregiver a much-needed break, we can help them understand their options, and we recommend they do this before they're forced to make moves. Joanna mentioned it earlier. It's good to plan ahead and understand what your options are in the event that you do have to make a move at some point in time. And sometimes people are quite surprised at the options that are available to them. So finding those options is our specialty, and we try to take the fear away, and we do the heavy lifting for them. So
that was so well said. And I have to say, I'm so impressed that you acknowledged first the geriatric care management, how important that is in the whole planning for caregiving. And because you could have said, this is my company, this is who I am, and this is what we do, and totally ignore that piece. But Lisa, you were brilliant in how you really brought it all together. It made, I know, my guests feel very welcome because they're nodding their heads like, this is great that there's someone out there that really understands what we do and is acknowledging us and wants to partner with us to help all those families out there because it is so confusing. And that is one of the reasons, many reasons why I love our community, because people get it. They don't have to feel stingy or feel like you're stepping on my toes. It's all about helping that family. And that's why I am on this show every week, because I totally believe that we come from a place of love and from light and from from our highest selves so that we can serve all of our caregivers and their loved ones. And Lisa, you did a great job, and I want to really thank you for that and applaud you. I think if someone is listening, this is why they would want to call you versus somebody else. And I'm very selective of who I have on this show. I try to be that credibility factor for our family members. Why don't we give them your phone number right now so they could call you for an appointment?
Okay. It's 727 282-5019.
Okay, that's great. Why don't you stay on with us to the end of the show, because I know Joanna is going to have something to say, and so is Kelli. And so, Joanna, what would you like to say maybe to Lisa, how she just did that?
Well, I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
We love working with other professionals out there in the community that have the best interest for our elders, because it's just a win-win situation for everyone. It really is.
Yes, definitely.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. And then, Kelli, what about you? What are some of your thoughts, your closing thoughts as we come to a close? We've got about a few more minutes.
Oh, boy, that went by fast.
I know it did. It was fun.
No, just something I keep thinking about is being more educated as consumers. And thank goodness for your show, because I think it helps everybody learn about their options. But please, one of the things that people need to take more heart and consideration is advance directives. I didn't say that. As care managers, that's what in the assessment, that's one of the things we look at. And a lot of times people don't even understand, oh, I appointed so-and-so, I can't stand her anymore. Or an older person will select a sibling who's the same age that
right, they don't understand.
Might not be there anymore.
So they need to be guided. When they sit with you, they are understanding they've got to get this in order.
Right.
It could be a verbal conversation. They don't think necessarily have to write it down, or they wrote it down on a piece of paper. You want it to be legitimate, and have all your options considered so that you can make a really well-informed decision.
Make a good choice,
Yeah.
and then involve the people in that choice that you've appointed, so they understand and know how it really is as a working document and what it means. And same with DNRs and different transitions of care. It means different things in different settings. So it's real important. And when you get into that instance, that's when you can call us as on a consultation basis too. If you have a specific need and something you want to know about, we do consultation too, as well as long-term geriatric
So
care
would
management.
that be a free consult if they called up and had a question?
We do initially, but if it's, solving problems and
Right.
getting more involved, we always initially do an hour where we talk with people trying to find out what it is that they need and then go into the contract. We have a contract that's signed, and it's very legitimate because seniors are vulnerable people.
Yes.
And it means a lot to me that things are set up properly from the beginning. We don't take any referral fees. We have standards of practice. And it's important that the people know that we're dealing with it. We do have a contract that's signed. And getting over that in the beginning, it can be hard. And
Yes.
talking about advanced directives when that's foreign
Right.
to someone.
Or,
and
or
always,
they've been resistant.
Yes. We try to soften it. Sometimes you can't do it all in the beginning.
Well, and a family member could probably appreciate that extra support. This is kind of where
Right.
you're supporting them, where mom will not get that done, and I know it needs to
Right.
get done. This is a great time for you guys to come in and be
And
able
like
to
Joanna
be that
said,
voice.
the adult children, a lot of times we're an outside objective
Yes.
person. And our clients will call us where they feel, I couldn't call my daughter, I'd be a burden. I don't like that word burden, because we're all here to care for each other. It's not a burden, but they'll call us when they wouldn't call their kids.
Right.
So
That's you fulfill such an
'Cause they're
important
the
role
kids.
in their lives. So the future of caregiving to me is very layered.
Yes.
It's very multidimensional. Joanna, what would you like to say about that? Now that you've heard this whole conversation,
You
as
know,
we
the care
close.
manager brings those layers together.
Okay.
And it is very fragmented at times. But you need that point person
Yep.
that's going to be able to work with those physicians, the hospital, the adult senior living centers, and the attorneys. Anybody that touches that elder, that care manager brings it together.
Well, that is so well said. I loved having this show today. Lisa, did you want to say anything?
No, thank you again, and thank you, ladies, for the
Yes.
service that you provide.
Thank you.
And I will set up this appointment for all of us to meet and have a nice lunch so you can get to know them. If you've missed any part of the show or you want to hear it again or see it again, all you need to go to is the caregiverhour.com website. And there is a tab called the radio show. And down there, it tells you how to listen to it again, or even if you wanted to see it again. So we are so thrilled to have our guests here today. And, it really, to me, also was about empowering the caregiver, which is definitely where we want to go in the future, but also empowering your clients and the elderly so that they have a voice. So we want you to stay connected to us, and you can always do that on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter, because we're very social media savvy. And we've got a great company that does that for us, and that's Go Agency. And so I'm very grateful for Chris and Dale from the Go Agency. So if you are interested in knowing more about events that we have coming up, just go to our website, thecaregiverhour.com calendar, and you can connect and see all the different events. Next week, we have some great events to talk about as the holidays come up. So be really kind to yourself this week and do something great for yourself. I'm Kim Linder. You're listening to the Caregiver Hour on 1250 WINS WHNZ.